answer to that question?
Not.
Okay.
Anybody here? Any takers?
Yeah, it did kind of seem like in general that's what the answer tended to be, right? We're just asking why did the agent, right? He has reasons for A and reasons for B.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, I think we're lost some people. I'll try and bring them in.
We could do with losing another few people. The kind of idiots of the hangout.
But the idea is that he has reasons for A and reasons for B, and he chose to do A, right? He acted on the A reasons, right? Why did he act on the A reasons?
Because that was his state of mind at the time. That's what he chose to do.
Then the state of mind.
He chose to do A because that's what he chose to do.
Yeah, that was his choice.
Yeah, he chose it because it was his choice.
Well,
so the reason why he chose it is because it was his choice. That's what you're saying.
And
you're a clown.
And how can you justify your reasoning without appealing to reasoning?
He chose what he did because it was a choice. That's not the question at issue. The question
yes, it is. The question
why
at issue,
he chose it.
The question
and
at
your
issue,
answer is because it was his choice. You're a moron.
The answer to the question is to display to you that with properly basic beliefs, with things which are foundational, you always find yourself in a situation where you cannot provide a justification for it without appealing to the thing you are trying to justify. That's the very definition. That's the very definition of a properly basic belief.
It doesn't justify itself.
So again, what we see is your gross ignorance of philosophy. Even at the most basic level, you do not know philosophy. You have not the first clue about philosophy or how properly basic beliefs are. That's your claim.
It just means it doesn't have a justification.
Yeah, exactly. And there is no justification for why in libertarian free will that would be the same situation.
So then
you're asking for a justification. You're asking for a justification
when there's no reason. That's what I'm asking for when I ask you for the justification. Is what's the reason? But you don't have a reason why he did A over B. You're saying the reason why he did A over B is because he did A over B. You're a moron.
To bring out your ignorance of properly basic beliefs in philosophy, which has been well demonstrated last night and now today.
You can't say that the reason why he did A over B is that he did A over B. Because that's the question we're asking. Why he did A over B.
Yeah. And if I say to you,
you can't answer the question by saying he did A over B.
Yes, I can. I can say, why is your reasoning valid? Oh, well, because, because I reasoned to it. I can't say that
my reasoning is valid because it's valid. That wouldn't be an answer to the question. But that's how you're answering the question.
Yes, it would be if you were trying to bring out to some idiot novice on philosophy.
You say my reasoning is valid in virtue of its being valid?
Yes, you can.
That's not informative. That's going to be true of everything.
Not every statement needs to be informative.
It doesn't explain why my reasoning is valid to say that it's valid because it's valid.
It's not intended to explain it.
It doesn't justify it.
It's not intended to do anything but bring out from
It doesn't justify how it is that my reasoning is valid.
You keep on interrupting.
It's valid because it's valid. That's just stupid.
Stupid is someone like you proposing that there can be no empirical evidence or disconfirmatory or confirmatory evidence for theism.
If you want to talk we're discussing here, idiot. We're discussing why he does A over B, moron. We're discussing why he does A over B, moron. That's what we're talking about. Don't bring up another topic.
Yes, of course. I'm demonstrating
the moronic. We're talking about why he does A over B, and it's not an answer to the question, moron, to say he does A over B because he does A over B. You're an idiot.
Yes, and you're an idiot. So that makes two idiots according to your view and my view. But the problem is, I demonstrated your idiocy last night, and I'm capable of doing that today.
Demonstrating my idiocy right now by telling me how the reason why he did A over B is because he did A over B? What kind of a moron are you to think that's a satisfactory answer to the question?
It is a satisfactory answer.
The question.
It is a satisfactory answer to bring about the end that I have in my mind.
Clown. Okay.
Yeah, and you're a pedophile.
Come back when you figure out an answer to the question, moron.
And you're a pedophile. Who cares?
Oh,
That's
right.
like
So
saying you're wrong because you're wrong is an explanation of how the person's wrong.
Yeah. Why is he wrong? Oh, because he's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is he correct? Because he's correct.
That's the nature of all.
So that explains how he's correct. Because he's
That's
correct.
the nature of all axiomatic.
Oh, and so the reason why I'm wrong is, because I'm wrong. That's the reason why I'm wrong. And the reason why I did A over
argument showing that you're wrong.
Yeah, and the reason why I did A over B, because I did A over B. Oh, I was wondering why I did A over B. Oh, it was because I did A over B. That explains why I did A over B. And this is the intellectual powerhouse, right? Who needs a whole room of atheists to debate him when he's a complete fucking moron. All right, I've had enough.
Yeah, disappear.
Well, maybe you should stop using big words so he'll understand you.
Yeah, apparently Y is too big a word for him to understand. Why don't you get a dictionary and figure out what that means, you moron?
Pedophile's not too big a word for me to understand.
Yeah, pedophile, right. That's we engage in the ad hominems now when we can't actually argue.
You don't even know what an ad hominem is. There needs to be an argument present.
Yeah. Calling me a pedophile. That really invalidates my objection to say I'm a pedophile. Very good. Bravo. Yeah. Very good argumentation there, sir. You're really an intellectual powerhouse. You're really a dominant debater. Yeah. Very impressive. Yeah. One of the smartest Christians on Google Hangouts. Yeah.
Yes, that's me.
You know why you're wrong? Because you're a pedophile. You know why you did A over B? Because you did A over B. You know why you're wrong? Because you're wrong. Very, very impressive argumentation there. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
All right, I yield it to somebody else who wants to talk to this imbecile.
Yeah, yield it to someone with some intellectual abilities.
Some pedophile abilities.
Yeah, go and abuse a child or something.
Go and abuse a child, you pedophile. Yeah, go and abuse a child, you pedophile.
Speak to your friend. I mean, your friend doesn't.
Speak to the little children who are sucking your cock, you little pedophile.
Speak to your friend. He doesn't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Speak to your little children that are sucking your cock, you little pedophile. Yeah. Ha. Okay.
Oh my goodness. You need to watch your blood pressure.
You need to watch. You need to watch out for the police, Mr.
Why don't you quote Gregory Dawes again?
Yeah. Why don't you say that the reason why he did A over B is because he did A over B again?
Because I don't want to raise your blood pressure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You haven't heard of Gregory Dawes until we mentioned it, and then now you think you know what Gregory Dawes did and didn't say.
He's just a lying piece of shit.
Well, some people are more graceful. I'm sorry. Yeah, some are more graceful than others when regarding conceding their errors.
Yeah.
So Matt, would you say that there are, I don't know, beyond just the God and such, other kinds of supernatural things like souls?
Yes, of course.
I think you have a piano player argument, right?
Yeah, that's of course. Only idiots deny these things.
Only idiots don't say when somebody asks why is someone wrong, because he's wrong, right? They actually try to give a justification rather than just repeat.
Let's not revisit that discussion.
Because people try and give justifications for properly basic beliefs. I don't think so.
I didn't ask for justifications for.
Let's not get dragged into that again.
He said he yielded, but he can't yield.
I was just commenting on how you call things idiotic.
Yeah, when I think about the word idiotic, I think about you.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not me. I'm probably worse than you, man. But at the same time, you maintain that there are such things as souls because, what is it? Brain damage merely, it's like damage to a piano, and the piano player still exists, right?
Correct.
Well, you can create whatever just so story you want, right? They would have to have a justification for how they know that's the way it works.
Well, I actually didn't come into the room with the intention of committing suicide, but I have to confess that I actually do believe in libertarian free will.
That's fine, but the question that doesn't answer the question, though.
No, but I think
I was asked.
no, of course it doesn't. But what I think about that question is
Of
that
course.
you're in the question. I think that you're begging the real question, because you're saying, why did you choose this, or what was the reason that you chose this? So the assumption is that there's something that explains the choice.
No, I don't have that assumption. If nothing explains the choice, then it's just random.
The idea is that either something explains it or it doesn't, and then the question is, which is it?
Yes.
Well, I think that the whole idea of libertarian free will, which he keeps trying to explain in his rather rude way, is that it's a choice that the human, at least he's talking about God, but I don't believe in God, but I'm talking about human beings. I think we have the ability to choose, and that choice is not determined by anything else.
Right, so we're just saying that's random eventuation.
No, it's not random, it's choice.
Then you'll have to explain it.
Then you'll have to explain why it's not random, right? Because you're saying that there's no external influences.
No, you're not. You're saying there's no determinative external influences.
Well, you're saying it happens for no reason, but it's not random.
No, you're not. You're saying there's no determinative
Ding is saying
outside influences.
Ding is saying something different from you, Matt.
No, he's not. He's saying the exact same thing I tried to point out to you half an hour ago.
Is it happening for a reason?
Like I said, this is what I said about half an hour ago.
I'm talking to Ding.
In your questions, you're trying to smuggle in determinism. That's exactly
that's Ding if he's saying the same thing you're at.
So I muted you for over talking. If Nadia can't control her hangout, I will. I said half an hour ago or more what all your questions were doing, trying to smuggle in determinism. That's exactly what the guys just said, begging the question of determinism.
Ding, are you saying the same thing that Matt is saying? Are you saying that it doesn't happen for a reason? That there's no reason that he does A over B?
I never said that. I said there's no determinative reason.
Your reason for why he did A over B is because he did A over B. Do you agree with that, Ding?
That was to bring out the point of you trying to...
I'm asking Ding if he agrees.
I don't care what you ask. Okay, I'm going to keep muting you until you stop being an idiot. If you can't be an idiot, then hopefully and eventually Nadia will take control of her hangout and deal with you.
Well, he's trying to talk to Ding and you're interrupting.
I don't care. He's making reference to me and my comments. He's misrepresenting my statement, so I'm going to correct him.
Ding, when I ask why the agent did A over B, is your answer that he did A over B? Is that the reason why he did A over B on your view? Because he did A over B?
I would say that pretty much, yeah. I think the reason, I mean, he chose to do A over B. Yes.
No, I'm not asking. I'm not asking.
I'm not asking.
You
gave me the wrong answer, Dean.
Can somebody mute?
You gave me the wrong answer,
Dean. Can somebody mute Matt?
I'll show you how to. This is how you mute.
Listen, this is a really good topic, and it's one that's very challenging for me, but I don't expect to make any headway with this guy in the room, so maybe it would be better to just put it off. You know, I felt like I'm sitting here silently, knowing that if I say what I really think, I'm going to get killed, so I should say it, get it out there, but I don't think with this guy in the room it's a very good opportunity to debate or discuss anything.
Okay, that's fine. We can talk it over with you later.
Thank you.
We could also ask him to back out and such.
You could also ask him to what?
I had a question.
You could also ask him to back out.
I had a question for Matt, actually. I was wondering how many philosophers would affirm that minds can have neither qualia nor intentional states.
Very few. But if you're referring to God, then that's a different question.
No, I mean in the instance of God. How many philosophers affirm that view?
I don't know. I never took a survey of philosophers on the question. Have you?
No.
Okay, so we don't know the answer.
Okay. Are you aware of any?
No. Are you aware of any who do take a different position than myself?
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much every philosopher that exists.
Yeah.
So name them.
Well, William Lane Craig.
William Lane Craig is not a counterexample of what I said.
I'm pretty sure Craig thinks
Sorry,
that.
how do you mean?
But like I say, he's not. If you think he has said something contrary to what I said, then present what he said.
Well, he has the view that God has intentional states.
That's because he has the view that God exists in time, temporal, with the universe.
That's not my understanding of his view.
Okay, this is his view.
His view isn't that God had. His view isn't that God didn't have intentional states, and that he did.
His view is, without the universe, God exists atemporally. With the universe, he exists temporally. That's the view of William Lane Craig. He
But
said
he
it
didn't say he didn't
1,000
have
times.
intentional states when God was atemporal.
How do you argue for free will without intentionality?
Yeah, I'm not sure what making choices would be exactly. What does God make choices?
No, that's a temporal process.
Well then, Matt, how are you arguing for God having free will if there can't be choices?
So if you take the view that God can look at every possible world, and then he can say, well, what's the best possible world? He will enact the best possible world because of his nature.
Wouldn't enacting be a choice?
No.
So God just has causal dispositions.
No, not if he has what William Lane Craig calls a timeless intention to create.
But you
Sorry,
said earlier that that's incoherent, right? To be timeless.
Not to have a timeless intention. A timeless intention is a non-temporal intention. It's a changeless intention.
But I thought that you asserted earlier that intentions are temporal, and so to attribute those to God would be...
Yeah, of course. But intentions are intentional for in time. Without time, what are intentions? Is it possible without time to have a...
Well, I don't think intentions are possible atemporally.
Yeah,
do you?
But what's your evidence?
He said there's a timeless intention, so obviously he does think it's possible.
But I thought earlier
Right,
you
so
said that it was incoherent to say that there are...
What I said earlier was, if you ascribe a temporal process to God existing without the universe, then that's incoherent. However, if you're talking about a non-temporal process, then that can be rightly attributed to God. For example, having a timeless intention. A timeless intention is not equal to an intention, which is usually understood as a temporal process.
Can't say I'm following.
Cool. That's because you don't know William Lane Craig and his work.
Well, Matt, can you give us a brief account of it?
I just did. William Lane Craig's view is God is timeless without the universe and in time with the universe. That means a timeless intention is a changeless intention. It does not change. It's not a process. It doesn't involve time. There's no thinking involved in it. There's no decision making involved in it. There's no choices involved in it. It just exists as a timeless, changeless intention to do something.
How is that not a disposition, a causal disposition?
How do you
it can't be a causal disposition. If you have the timeless intention to do something, then you're going to do that something if you have the power to do so, and that's what would be proposed.
Well, a causal disposition fits that criteria equally well. In fact, it fits it better.
Yeah, but a causal disposition, when you use the word disposition, if that's referring to a temporal process, that couldn't be true of something that existed without time.
So God couldn't cause the universe to exist then.
There was two people speaking at the same time.
Sorry, go on, Hal.
Then God couldn't have
No,
caused the
you don't need to
universe.
worry. There's no point in it. I'm not responding to him. So you be well going.
Right, because you said causation requires time, so God being outside of time couldn't have caused the universe.
I'm kind of wondering what part of I'm not responding to you don't understand.
Well, you
Well,
don't have to respond.
I think
wrong.
it's a good question either way, Matt.
Then ask the question then.
How can God have causal powers if he's atemporal?
Now, God, again, if you know William Lane Craig, then that's through an act of simultaneous causation. So the cause and the effect happen completely simultaneous to each other. So you're not proposing a cause before, the cause existing in time, acting in time, and then bringing about time, which would be incoherent. The simultaneous causation is how that's responded to by William Lane Craig.
Now, is simultaneity temporal or atemporal? Because it strikes me as being clearly temporal.
Well, of course it is. But if you have the first act,
haven't you just contradicted yourself then?
Well, yeah, of course. If you interrupt me, that's what you would think.
Sorry, I apologize.
So when you have God existing timelessly with the intention to create, the act of creation and the onset of time, they begin then.
Is begin temporal or atemporal?
Again, they happen then. There's no space between God's acting on his timeless intention and the effect coming into reality. Both happen. There is not the slightest distinction between the two things. It's completely simultaneous, which is again different from simultaneity in our experience, because there's always some sort of something going on there, physical at the atomic level. But this is not an example of that. This is a sui generis situation, completely, totally simultaneous. As soon as God acted, the effect came into reality. No, that doesn't require time. There's no time before time. There's no causal action before time. Totally and completely simultaneous.
Okay.
So God didn't exist before the universe did?
Okay, Matt. So I think just to make sure we've got the same terminology, I understand simultaneous to mean that two events happen at the same time.
No, in this case, you're not proposing two events. Well, yeah, you could say God acting and the universe coming and being instantiated happened at the exact same moment. But remember that when you talk about the universe coming into existence, you're talking about time. Time began simultaneously. So the first moment of time, the very first moment of time, is completely synonymous with and simultaneous with God's action. There's no, not the slightest difference between the beginning of God's action or the action and the onset of time.
So I think begin, action, happen, and simultaneous are all temporal.
Yeah, that's because when God acted, all the time was then present. As soon as the action, the cause, the effect, they all started from that point. Everything occurred simultaneously. There's nothing. What you're trying to do is you're trying to construct that there was some time before God's action or before time began. God's action is somewhat temporarily precedes the effect coming into effect. That's not what simultaneous causation, as proposed by William Lane Craig, is positing. There is no way you can differentiate or distinguish between the action, the cause, and the effect. Everything happened, dumph.
I think
Did God cause time to exist?
I think
Matt, did God cause time to exist? You can respond to him if he did.
Yes. And by that simultaneous action, the realization of his timeless intention.
But simultaneously requires time.
Philip, do you want to take over since he won't respond to Kyle?
Well, not really. I mean, I think Craig's view is that it's not temporally prior, but he says it's causally prior to the beginning of the universe or something like that. But I don't really understand what he's trying to say there.
You cannot talk about time before time began. That's incoherent. So when you talk about, when Craig will say prior to the universe, he's making a distinction. He's not saying temporally prior to. He's saying logically prior to.
Yeah, well, it's causally prior, I think, right?
Causation is an action in time.
Okay. Wait.
Well, earlier you said God created time. So
yes.
Right, so how does that fit with the idea?
The way I just explained it, via simultaneous causation.
Right, but he's outside of time, right? And
there's no outside of it. He is without time.
Causation presupposes time, so God caused time to come into being, even though God is not in time.
That's incorrect.
So causation doesn't presuppose time?
Simultaneous causation does not entail the normal cause-effect relationship, which would be a temporal process where the cause would precede the effect. Simultaneous causation is not an example of that, and that's what's proposed as being God's creative act, an act of simultaneous causation.
That wasn't my question. My question is, does causation presuppose time?
My answer was no. Simultaneous causation does not propose time.
But I thought you agreed that simultaneous causation was something that took place in time.
No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. How can
I don't understand what simultaneous...
Of course you don't understand. You don't know. You're an idiot.
It doesn't mean taking place at the same time.
Yes, it does. But the action, there's no distinction between the action of God, the action of God. There is no time. As soon as God starts to act, without any differentiation at all, to the most minuscule level, totally, as soon as God acts, time is present.
We agree that simultaneity means taking place at the same time.
So you've God's creative act and you have time beginning.
We agree that simultaneity means taking place at the same time, right?
Yes.
We agree on that?
Okay. Yes, but in this
and
case,
we also agree...
But in this case, there is no time.
We agree that simultaneity means taking place at the same time.
There is no time. Without the universe, there is no time.
We agree that what it means to say that something is simultaneous is that two things occur at the same time.
Yeah, but that's speaking with the universe.
So we agree that simultaneous means two things taking place at the same time.
Same answer.
Right? Okay, good. So we agree on that.
No,
now,
we don't. Right?
But we don't agree that simultaneous means.
Because I made distinctions.
So we don't agree.
Distinctions. No, we don't agree. We don't agree that you're not making it.
Simultaneous doesn't mean taking place at the same time.
Simultaneous does mean taking place at the same time.
So
when you have the universe, because when you have the universe, you have time for things to happen simultaneously.
I'm just trying to understand what simultaneous means if it doesn't mean two things taking place at the same time.
With the universe, it does. What you're trying to do the same.
I'm trying to understand what it means.
Stop pretending to looking for understanding. As you did before, what you're trying to do is you're trying to smuggle in a temporal situation where there's some time being postulated before time began. You're a dishonest chap.
Let's poll the room. Okay, let's go through the room one by one. Does anybody understand?
Okay.
Does anybody understand?
So now we're going to have a. I'm going to mute you again.
I'm talking.
Now we're going to try and determine what truth is by having a vote.
I wasn't trying to determine what truth is. I was trying to understand what simultaneous means.
And you don't get that by having a fucking vote.
To see if anybody understands it. So let's go through people in the room one by one. Hal, do you have any idea what simultaneous could mean if it doesn't mean two things happening at the same time?
I have no clue.
Okay, Miguel, are you here?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what simultaneous means if it doesn't mean two things happening at the same time?
Not at all.
Okay. CK, are you here?
Yeah. Matt, Braveheart is one of my favorite films, but I don't understand.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you have
of
no
course you
clue.
understand.
Okay. So Philip, do you have any idea what it means to say two things are simultaneous other than that they occur at the same time or exist at the same time?
Not really.
No. Okay. Justin, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to say that I really support Matt in this argument, and I hope that you win, and that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a foregone conclusion.
Okay. Nadia, do you have any idea what it means to say that two things are simultaneous other than that they exist at the same time?
I know for a fact that what simultaneity means is that they happen at the same time, and that any attempt to claim it means otherwise is false. Go ahead.
Okay. Dingon Zik, are you here?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what it means to say something is simultaneous other than it occurs at the same time?
Well, let me think. Let me see. Okay, how about this? Prior to time.
Tread carefully, Ding.
Oh, I am.
There are booby traps everywhere.
When you say
Wait a
prior
minute.
to time, Ding.
Wait a
aren't you
minute.
saying
Wait a
time
minute.
before time?
Let me finish.
Wait, Jack, just a minute.
Presumably, time didn't come into existence until the universe came into existence. Okay,
Yes.
so therefore, until the universe came into existence, everything happened at once.
Until.
And then, since everything happened at once, everything is simultaneous. Even though there's no time, once the universe is in existence, we describe that as saying it happened at the same time. But that doesn't make any sense when you apply it to the situation that existed when there was no time.
But I think everything happening at once means everything's happening at the same time.
Which means it's simultaneous.
Well, see, okay. I mean, I can't make it any better than that. I don't take the whole thing that seriously anyway, since, as you know, I don't believe in God and all this stuff. But
okay.
That's the best I can do.
That's the best you can do. And Art, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here, and I don't understand how can it exist.
Matt, I have a question.
Quickly, because I find it really ironic that Matt is against establishing truth through sort of popularity vote, because he asked for that exact thing, just like, what, half an hour ago?
Yeah.
If you guys recall.
He's not exactly consistent, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, CK.
Well, I just sort of recalled that Matt was very insistent about using conventional dictionary definitions.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't seem to apply to simultaneous.
Apparently not.
That's incorrect. When I raised objection to the use of the word conventional, I was objecting to the use of specific language used in philosophy as being referred to as the conventional use of words. That's not the case. I was objecting to describing philosophical specialist language as conventional words. It's not the conventional understanding. It's not the conventional understanding, except within that specialist field. That's what I was objecting to. So when you're looking at simultaneous causation, then go to the dictionary. You can say, happened at the same time. Two things happening at the same time. You can say, well, yeah, of course, but the dictionary is predicated on the universe. We're talking about a situation here when there was no universe. We're talking about the universe coming into existence. And on that situation, that's why I'm making the qualifying remarks. Because simultaneous means two things happening at the same time. The two things that are proposed as happening is here the onset of time with God's creative act. So there is no proposition here that time existed before time was created, and that's what that idiot's trying to bring into the discussion by having a room poll.
Yeah, but I think you made the same point about the word evidence.
Yeah, evidence. Yeah, words have meanings unless you have good reason to go outside those. So if you're going to propose a stipulative definition, you have to be able to justify it. If you can't justify your stipulative definition, no one is obligated to take you seriously.
I don't know what it means to justify a definition. Like, how could you provide an argument for a definition?
Also, what would the definition of, what's the alternative definition of simultaneous that you're proposing?
I'm not proposing a different definition. I'm proposing a definition with a qualification, and that is the context, which is we are talking about a unique situation, which is not duplicated at any other time when we use the word simultaneous, because we are then talking about when we have time, when we have a universe, and I'm agreeing with the definition. Simultaneous means at exactly the same time, but I'm putting that in from context.
And what's the context?
The context is we're dealing with a unique situation.
And in that unique situation, does simultaneous mean at the same time?
Yeah, at the same time, yes.
Okay, so we agree that simultaneous means at the same time in all cases.
Yes, yeah, but the qualification is that you have to have that in the context of we're talking about the beginning of time. We're not talking about time existing and then two things happening asymmetrically. We're talking about a unique situation where time does not exist, and in fact, time would have begun to exist as soon as anything moved, because time is a measurement of change. So you don't need to be proposing God as the creator of the universe and of time. If it was some sort of natural mechanical structure that had changelessly exist for eons and eons and eons, and then something caused it to move, time begins. And time begins simultaneously in the exact same way. As soon as you have change, you have time. There's nothing particular here about the idea that God did it. It could be anything. As soon as anything changed in that situation, simultaneously time began.
Wait, I have a question. I stepped away for a second. So what I was asking before was, in virtue of what are two things simultaneous if they don't occur at the same time, right? I was looking for a criterion that distinguishes simultaneity from other characterizations when, in fact, two things don't occur at the same time, because apparently it's not sufficient if we ask if two things occur at the same time. That doesn't exhaust simultaneous things, right? Some things that are simultaneous don't occur at the same time on the view. So I assume we didn't get an answer to that question yet while I stepped away, right? Because I think I figured it out.
Well, he agreed that simultaneous means happening at the same time in all instances now.
Oh, he does? Okay, because I thought the answer was going to be that when things don't occur at the same time, they're simultaneous in virtue of being simultaneous. I thought that was going to be the answer, but I guess he's now changed his tune. Okay.
I haven't changed my tune at all, but I'm not going to.
Oh, so you're now agreeing that simultaneous means occurring at the same time?
No, I'm going to agree with what I said. I'm not here to entertain.
Hal, didn't he say that he agreed that?
Yeah, he agreed with CK that that's what it means.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, so he didn't agree. So maybe he means by simultaneous that two things are simultaneous in virtue of the fact that they're simultaneous, even if they don't occur at the same time.
No.
Oh, it doesn't mean that. Okay, so presumably you have a criterion then.
Yes, but I explained that criterion when you stepped away from the microphone, and
okay,
you don't.
Let's go through.
It doesn't warrant your.
Let's go through the room again and find.
So it doesn't warrant repeating what I've already said to other people and they have accepted.
So Hal, do you understand
Well, he didn't give out that kind of criterion when you were gone. While you were gone, he agreed with CK that simultaneous means happening at the same time in all instances, but he just said, well, there's other things you have to keep in mind also. So that's what happened while you were gone.
Okay, so he's lying then, or at least falsely reporting what happened.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through the room. CK, do you understand what the criterion is in which two things are simultaneous, even if they don't occur at the same time?
Well, like Hal, I understood Matt's answer to be that simultaneous means at the same time in all cases.
But he's denying that now, right?
No,
Well,
I'm not.
He
I
mentioned what he said was
clarified
that
it had to be understood in the context.
he did say that.
But I'm still not understanding, CK.
Of course you're not, because you step away from the microphone and you expect everyone to give you an
Oh,
explanation when you return.
Oh, so other people who were here when I didn't step away, they actually understand what this criteria is.
Yes, they understood what I was saying.
Okay, CK, so do you understand what the criterion is?
No, I know that you did say that there's a particular context and it's a unique event. I'm not clear on what the relevance of that is.
So the relevance is that you get away from this trying to smuggle in the idea that you're proposing the origins of time before time began, or time existing before time began to exist, which is just the kind of stupidity that Hegesias is trying to smuggle into.
I'm just trying to understand what the criterion
You
is.
don't have any interesting understanding at all. All you have an interesting.
Does anybody here understand what the criterion is, in virtue of which two things are simultaneous if they don't occur at the same time?
No one has proposed that. That's a straw man.
So then things can't be simultaneous if they don't occur at the same time.
Yeah.
I understand the criteria perfectly. It's ad hoc special pleading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying that it seems like the criterion in virtue of which two things can be simultaneous when they don't occur at the same time is that they're simultaneous, which is a very informative answer. Well, then what is the criterion? What is the criterion?
The criterion is when you have change in a timeless situation. If anything changes, you have simultaneous causation.
I didn't ask you what simultaneous causation was.
That's the criteria. That's the criteria for determining simultaneous causation without a universe.
I'm not asking how you determine it. I'm asking in virtue of what are two things simultaneous if they don't occur at the same time?
They're not. If they don't occur at the same time, they're not simultaneous. That's obvious to any idiot.
So then it's not possible for two things to be simultaneous and not occur at the same time.
Duh.
I see. So then it's the case that simultaneity presupposes time.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, so simultaneity doesn't mean that two things occur at the same time.
Yes, it does. But in this given context, we are talking about the onset of time itself.
Let's go through it again.
So it's a surge. No, we won't go through it again. You're not running this hangout. I'm not beholden to your stupid line of questioning that doesn't ask honestly questions desiring a sincere answer, but is only playing like a poof.
Okay, let me ask the other.
Trying to make yourself look smarter than you are.
Let me ask the other people.
No, I'm not in. No, you're not going to do that. If people start doing that, I'll mute everybody who tries to answer you.
Well, then, okay, so
the substance to that complaint seems to be that he is attempting to prove the case, which is in turn, of course, to disprove of your own.
Now, is it unclear to anybody else in the room other than Matt, right, that if it in fact means for two things to be simultaneous, that they occur at the same time, that the concept of simultaneity logically presupposes time?
Yeah, I understood him as saying simultaneity being the thesis that two things happen at the same time don't presuppose time.
Right, well, that just seems to be a straightforward contradiction, right?
No.
I'm not asking you, Matt.
I don't care whether you're asking me a lot. As I said to you, okay, I'm going to keep muting you until Nadia deals with you. Simple as that.
Does that not appear? Sorry, Nadia, do you think?
Does anyone know what time it is?
I think not only simultaneity, but causality itself.
Nadia, can you ask him to stop muting me, please?
Control of your hangout and stop him trying to run the hangout by popularity votes.
I'm not running the hangout. I'm asking whether anybody.
Same thing, Matt. Long time ago.
He's participating. He's not quote unquote running it. I'm running it.
Not. He stepped away from a hangout. He came back in. We were getting something with the discussion. He comes back in and he just reiterates a whole bunch of nonsense that no one is speaking about.
You don't get along with anybody and think it's everybody else's fault.
Yeah. So does anybody not understand how, if it means?
I don't think that's really fair, because we just happen to be
just doing the same thing.
No, I'm sticking up for you, Matt.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
How are you sticking up for him? What is it that you're sticking up for?
Because you're being an asshole. That's what he's saying. Stop being a dick.
That's not what I'm saying. But I mean, we just happen to be in the majority today, right? It's not on another day. It might be Shamos, Matt, EF, and whoever. So
yeah, but Matt doesn't mind that. Matt asks for more atheists to attack him.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind exposing the.
But I'm just trying to understand if anybody else here understands how it could not be a straightforward contradiction if simultaneity means that two things occur at the same time. For simultaneity not to presuppose time.
It doesn't.
Is there anybody here who doesn't understand that to be a straightforward contradiction?
It appears to me to be a contradiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I would even say causality itself presupposes time as well.
Yeah, but that's a separate issue. I didn't even get to that. I was just getting to the issue of whether simultaneous causation presupposes time in virtue of its being simultaneous, because simultaneous means two things occur at the same time. So to say that two things occurring at the same time doesn't presuppose time seems to be a straightforward contradiction. Well, we've gotten a lot of those today.
It's like saying the concept that squares have four sides don't presuppose that they have sides.
Right, exactly.
Well, causality presupposing time might be worthwhile to examine here as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Causality doesn't presuppose time.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting assertion to examine. Go ahead.
No, I just said but what you claimed is a false statement. If you want to demonstrate that causality presupposes time, go ahead and do so. It's your claim.
Okay. Well, what do you deem causality to be?
Cause and effect.
Yeah. Okay. What does it mean for something to cause something else? Go ahead.
Doesn't a cause have to happen? Doesn't a cause happen?
It doesn't necessarily entail the existence of time. For example, you could have a situation where something is sustained. Something is timelessly sustained in existence by something else. There is no time involved in that.
Right. A cause has to happen before, after.
Causal relation.
A cause would have to happen before, after, or simultaneously to the cause.
God, what a dick.
And sustaining is a temporal notion.
See, if sustaining is a temporal notion, maybe we could examine that. I mean, is sustaining cause the instance in which you say causality does not require time?
What would it mean for something to be sustained for 0 seconds?
No one is proposing that, you idiot.
Well, if something doesn't occur in time, it occurred over 0 seconds.
No,
otherwise, it occurred over time.
There is no seconds if there is no time.
Right,
There's
0 means no seconds.
Yeah, seconds is a temporal situation. There is no time at all. There is no seconds, there is no minutes, there is no hours.
Right, so if there's no seconds, you have 0 seconds.
There's the question you need to ask in the side chat.
Just like if you have no apples, you have 0 apples.
Well, Wait, what is a sustaining cause at all?
It's something that by its own power holds something in existence timelessly. So, for example, the example in the side chat there, a timeless being, God, timelessly sustains a number in existence.
Sustained it for how long? 0 seconds?
It is not. Do you not know what timeless means?
Yeah, it means it didn't. No seconds transpired.
So that means without time.
And 0 seconds is when no seconds has transpired.
You're just a complete waste of time.
Matt, I think he's understanding. He's just saying that sustain is a temporal predicate.
It's not a temporal predicate. It just means to hold in existence via your power.
Hold in existence for 0 seconds.
Again, it's just a waste of time.
Well, 0 seconds means no seconds has transpired.
Right, therefore it's a redundancy.
So it happened, it was sustained for 0 seconds.
No, it was sustained timelessly, without time, without the passage of time, changelessly, in existence, one thing, changelessly keeping something else in existence without any change, and if there's no change, there's no passage of time.
Right, so if no passage of time occurred, 0 seconds occurred. There would
Of
be
course,
no
because you're
seconds.
dealing with a timeless situation, you dick.
Right, which means no seconds would go by. Which means
Of
you would have
course
0
not.
seconds.
Of course not. What a fuckwit.
Matt, you contradict yourself all over the place.
Yeah, well, why don't you demonstrate the contradiction, Art? Since
Oh, yeah, sure.
Since you're such a brilliant, since you're such a brilliant exegete of logic.
Right.
Show me the contradiction.
On one occasion,
First of all, tell me what the law.
I'm talking now. So, on what occasion you said, Matt, I'm gonna kick you if you want. I was still speaking, you interrupted me. If you're gonna continue muting me, I'm gonna just kick you. So, as I was saying, when this person, sorry, what's your name? Kyle. When Kyle said, "Hey, did 0 seconds transpire?" and you first said no, then after a certain conversation, you said yes, and then you said no again. It's in the broadcast. It's live on air. You contradict yourself.
If there's no time.
What? You just said if there is no time. So?
Yeah, and then you adjusted my volume.
No, actually, I adjusted you.
Off. I mute you. Get control of your Hangout, Nadia.
Actually, Matt, I adjusted your volume before, and a few minutes ago I readjusted it back, so that's when we could hear what you're saying. And now I adjusted it back to 0, so that I could finish speaking. And now you can speak.
The most disorganized Hangouts in existence, run by the wonderful moderator Nadia.
Well, it was organized until you showed up.
Oh yeah, of course. If you have a group of atheists stroking each other's cocks, that's what's going to happen.
Matt, I think
at least we have cocks to speak of.
Well, that's a very bold claim coming from you, who was trying to shag Sugar the other month.
Matt, I
did just try to succeed.
No, you didn't. She denied that last night. She said your cock was too small.
Well, I'm also trying to get mine reshaped into a vagina, not have it manipulated by others. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what Hal's trying to say is that when you say something, sustain something else, right? You want to say that it's done that, right? But when you say that there's no time, it seems like you're saying that it's happened for 0 seconds, right? And we don't really understand what that would mean.
You don't know what it would mean for something to timelessly, changelessly hold something else in existence by its power. So if that being who is timelessly sustaining something in existence by its power and stopped exercising its power, then that thing would no longer be sustained in existence.
Well, how could
it's called, if you want to use your fancy terms, and you see in the side chat, an asymmetric causal relation. In philosophy, and especially in the philosophy of time, that's not an unusual phrase. It's conventional philosophical terms in the philosophy of time. An asymmetric causal relation.
Well, how could he stop sustaining it, right, if there's no time?
No, that's a hypothetical. So, if for example, it was timelessly sustaining something in existence, and then it just said, okay, it changed something, time would begin and the thing would pop out of existence. And as soon as you have change, you have time.
Well, I think the original question is something like, if it's sustaining it timelessly, right, then that's just, that's similar, that's synonymous with saying it's sustaining it for 0 seconds, right? And we're asking, well, how does that count as sustaining it, right?
What you're talking about, you're talking about changelessly sustaining something in existence. So why would there need to be, if you have this asymmetric causal relation between two objects, one of them is contingent upon the other for its existence, but there is no universe. This is happening without a universe. Where is time involved in that asymmetric causal relation? Where's time involved?
Well, you're not saying what it would mean to sustain something for 0 seconds. You keep avoiding it.
That's because it's a stupid question. Where would time?
If something is timeless, 0 seconds have transpired.
In a timeless situation, there are no seconds.
Right, 0 seconds.
No, 0 seconds is a temporal statement.
It's like saying I have 0 apples, and then you're saying that's an apple statement.
0 apples. Having 0 apples is a universe contingent statement.
It just means I have no apples, just like 0 seconds.
It's a universe contingent statement.
Saying that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but it makes it true apart from that, but I know you don't care about truth.
Like if I have no apples, I have 0 apples. If I have no time, I have 0 seconds.
Let's move on to the next contradiction.
I think I raised it at one point an unchanging being of pure essence capable of activity.
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Well, creating a universe would be an activity.
Yeah, and at that point, it's no longer changeless. Time begins.
No, isn't the being itself changes though?
No, the being remains the same. It's only its relation to other things that changes.
Okay, and it is a being of pure essence, right?
Being is equal to essence.
Well,
There's no
God would have gone
between being and
from
essence.
not having created the universe to have creating the universe. That would be a temporal notion.
No, it wouldn't be.
Because that's a change, and change really presupposes time.
Yeah, simultaneous causation.
Change presupposes time, and there's a change from one state to a second state. That is a
simultaneously speaking.
Wait a minute. Simultaneous things presuppose time. We've already established that.
Yeah, that's your claim, yeah.
I thought you agreed to that.
I agree to that in the context that I agree to that in the context that I explained to avoid you trying to smuggle in on the pretext of trying to understand stuff. But
he kept agreeing then disagreeing with it, whatever suited him at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it seemed like you can correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. It seems like you were saying, well, it does presuppose time, except in the instance where it's atemporal, right?
No, you can't have atemporal simultaneous. Atemporal simultaneous. That's a contradiction, a contradictory statement.
Okay. Well,
What do you think essence is?
Being.
I'm sorry?
Being.
So it's a synonym for being?
Say again?
So it's a synonym for being?
Yes. Look up a thesaurus.
Matt, I thought you said that simultaneous causation is always in time, but you made a qualification, right?
No, yeah, the qualification wasn't that in the case of the onset of time, we're dealing with a unique situation. So you can't think about simultaneous causation where you have time existing and then two things simultaneously occurring. You have a situation where there is no time and then two things simultaneously occur. But the one of those things is the very onset of time because something has changed.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, but I thought you just said that, a simultaneous causation with atemporality is a contradiction.
Yeah, to propose simultaneously without time is a contradiction. It's proposing without time two things happening at the same time. No one is proposing that from the theistic side.
Univ is here. Univ, do you want to step in?
Yeah, Neve, is that the supposed to be the really smart guy you said philosophically?
He's the smartest of all of us except for Randy.
Oh, so he's a theist then?
Oh, you're so funny, man.
Does Univ have to have his mic? Is there something does he have to be presented to the room, or is he able to?
No, he's presented. He has to unmute. He has to press the mic that is. What would it called?
Okay.
Oh, presenting him won't help. Hang on. I'll try to do it in control room, but oh wait, he's unmuted. Or control room shows it unmuted.
Can you speak, Univ?
Hang on. I'll bring his volume back up and. Yeah, when I hit the mute button, it looks like it only turned his volume off or something. So, or sorry, turned the volume slider down. Anyway.
Somebody can screen share maybe and show him the icon that he has to press to unmute.
What's that?
Maybe somebody can screen share and show him the icon, the button that he should press to unmute.
He might be on a cell phone.
It's the same thing. You should have an icon there.
Yeah, Control D. I think we'll do it on a laptop or desktop. Cell phone, you're gonna have to. I think.
Maybe you need just can only listen for now.
I'm sorry. There's an obvious mic button that you press to unmute on cell phones, so you probably just can't talk right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he's not that smart.
Well, he called me a minute ago, and he said, what action is going on? I said, there's a free spot, and he said, okay, I'll click the link. But
I don't know if he
joined, he's suddenly unable to talk, but maybe he got a phone call or something.
If he now starts to speak and he tells us he could not figure out how to unmute, I'm gonna really lose faith in his intelligence.
That would be funny because he's actually a programmer.
Oh, that'd be okay. I'm fucking right. Yeah.
I was a programmer once. You can grab the Linux kernel source for my name.
Dustin is a programmer also.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of atheists who are in these hangouts who are programmers, or at least familiar.
And that guy Simon is an ex-programmer.
Who's Simon? Simon Funk?
No, this other Simon. Maybe you haven't met him yet, but he's been hanging out in some of the hangouts the past couple days.
Yeah. I know like 5 Simons, so.
Simon from the Skype group.
Right, right.
He was actually defending you last night against Cartesian's ridiculous attacks on you for being, calling you mentally ill and all this stuff, for being transsexual.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Simon was like really irritated.
Yeah, he's not a very genuine person.
Who, Cartesian?
Yeah.